Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, I'm Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her Podcast. Kristyn Harris is a dynamic editor-in-chief of SHEEN Magazine, and we have an honor to have her on Life Her Podcast today. A leading voice in the beauty, fashion, and entertainment industries with a career that began in the trade of journalist. During her unimaginable undergrad years, Kristyn has quickly rose through the ranks of becoming the web content editor, managing editor, and also ultimately securing a prestigious role at the editor-in-chief. Passionate about her bleeding in her media and beauty, fashion, and lifestyle, she oversees the departments of SHEEN Magazine, ensuring that it continues to educate, motivate, and empower women worldwide. Kristyn's mission is to inspire positive change through media, one story at a time. Hey, Kristyn, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, girl.
It's a good day.
Oh, girl, we gonna make it a good day.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna make sure I make it a good day because it's been super busy for me.
Right. I think it's because it's like that end of the week thing happening. You know, everything starts piling on.
And here it's raining, so it makes it even more dragging and drowsy and everything else to come with it.
It's trying to do that here, but it lightened up a little bit.
Oh, that's good. That's real good. So we're going to get started. And so tell me, your journey with SHEEN Magazine is very inspiring. Can you walk us through the transition from trade journalist to becoming an editor-in-chief, and what challenges did you face along the way and how did you overcome them?
Oh, wow. It feels so long ago. So I actually started here in 2017. It's so ironic how it happened. I had a classmate of mine reach out and be like, hey, we're looking for some writers for SHEEN. Would you be interested? Well, the writing opportunity was for the website. At the time, she was the managing editor, and we had an editor-in-chief here as well. So during that time, I was 6 months out of college. I was working at Blood Connection, and I was just like, God, please give me something, because this is great. You know, it's wonderful to give back in that way. But what else? So I came to SHEEN and I started with web content. So every web content article I was either having to write or edit based off of what the writers would send in. And just early on, and from that aspect, I realized that a lot of what media is, and I know you know this, is a lot of just like understanding the game. There's an element that comes from everybody's expertise, and I will tell you, I understand that more now than ever. So again, I've been here since 2017. I became the managing editor after that friend left, and I did that for a few years. And when our editor-in-chief exited, we kind of double teamed with myself and our previous art director. And after that, I became the editor-in-chief. So I've been in this role for about maybe 2.5-ish years. Okay. But I work closely with our publisher, Mr. William Chapman. But yeah, I would say some of the things that I found, which isn't really a struggle, I think it's just a growing part of, life, was really finding your voice, especially as a young woman being, sometimes it was being told it's easier to be seen rather to be heard. So I have a lot of interesting opinions on things. So I think just having to mold those into the job that I do daily. So I feel like I kind of eat, sleep, and breathe this. Everybody knows if I'm coming, I'm bringing, you already know, whatever it is I need to bring, because it's just a passion. And SHEEN is more than just a magazine. So being able to tap into all those elements, I just feel like it's so important.
I bet. So like with the adjustment of you transitioning like that, did you have like some form of nervousness, and like did your confidence level go up and down at the same time?
Yes. Yeah. I literally had an interview and we talked all about imposter syndrome. I think that is a lot of what it was. And being somebody who was always creative, but not necessarily giving opinions out loud, I would definitely say it was a confidence thing for a while, because it's like you want to give an idea, but you don't want to be the weird one. But when you think about it, we're all artists. So everybody's got something that makes them a little bit different. But it's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's just interesting. I had a baby back in June of last year, and I will say that my confidence fully came when he arrived.
Okay.
Because, you can do all the things, you can be whatever you want to be, but when you have to start taking care of somebody else, it's like, you can't fake this no more. You either gonna be it or that's it. So I had my ebbs and flows for sure, but having the right people around you, like personally and professionally, as well as just knowing that your ideas are like okay and they're actually really good. You just need sometimes the help to mold them.
Yes, you ain't lying about that. And
Yeah.
congrats on your baby.
Thank you.
So what does leadership mean to you, and how has the leadership style evolved since stepping into this role at SHEEN Magazine?
Wow, that's a good one. Leadership, I think that because of my journey, I was able to see all the tiers of what was happening. Sometimes in that journey, that meant that I had to find Final Cut Pro and cut something up together really quickly because our video editor was doing something else. So I think being able to kind of not fully experience everybody's roles, but to have to take the time to learn about them before they were in them, or when somebody else was there, it really helps me now understand how each job works. My thing is with us, with the team that we have, we are a boutique size team, but we are powerful. We produce 6 physical copies each year, and for us to do that, there's going to be things along the way that happen, but it's more so like in the leadership style that I want to have and continue to have is working together, because if at least there's a mistake, we can catch it all together and we can game plan together. But a common thread that I've noticed is sometimes people just make a mistake and they want to hold it in, but it's like holding it in is not going to make it no better. At least if you tell somebody, you can kind of figure out what's next or what to do next. So that's something definitely that I strive for in my leadership. But overall, in the leadership of the company, we are woman-owned and we are Black-owned by Miss Kimberly Chapman, and she is a wonderful role model. You literally see her at least 5 times a week. And, obviously we're in the office 5 times a week, but it's just really cool walking and seeing the person who built this with her bare hands kind of still lead, give gems. We'll have meetings at times where she just gives life advice. Hey, whatever you're not happy about, whatever the bad thing is, it's a reflection of, what may be going on. Figure it out and figure out how you can be better. So I will say just having her as a leader and seeing her vision often and her trusting us with her vision is something that I feel like it's just super cool, because you don't really see, that type of person just willingly walk around and give advice. And then also we have a wonderful office manager. Her name's Christina Wisniewski, and she is amazing. They're both amazing. So working with the two of them, and then Trey, aka William, he's my right hand, but he's our publisher, and just seeing his business acumen and some of the things that I didn't necessarily see, because I was more like, let's be creative,
Yeah.
So it's wonderful working with somebody who's like, let's be creative, but let's figure out, the other elements to the business as well.
That is amazing. But just the fact that I'm going to give you your flowers for transitioning from your experiences beforehand. I mean, you got it down to a T. I know it's not like perfectionist in no way of you being perfect, but for you to like transition and how highly you're speaking of it, I think it's amazing, because I know, it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah. No, for sure. Thank you so much for that. That's so sweet. But yeah, no, it definitely can be. I think that for me, I took a leadership class a long time ago before this role was ever even a thought in my mind. And they told me, hey, you're a feeler. And I was like, you know what, I am. And so I've had to learn to feel, but not always react, because crashing out is a real thing, whether that be,
Yeah.
yeah, like romantically, professionally, you can do it at any point. But is
Yes.
it worth it is the question, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, you doing good.
Thank you.
So, with your deep expertise in media and entertainment, how do you see the role of magazines evolving in a digital age, and what's next for Sheen in terms of reaching and engaging in its audience?
Ah, yeah. That's the fun topic that we talk about a lot, engaging with this new generation who is instant and on their phones, and who they say don't read, but I beg to differ. I think that engaging with them is just the same way everything else engages with them. You go to where they are, whether that means that's who you put on the cover, whether that's who you feature in the magazine, because who cares what society says they'll do? We know that regardless, human nature is, if I like Beyonce, I might not go to Cowboy Carter, but I might read her interview in a magazine because I'm interested in her. That's one of our key points, that with staying print, that's one major key, that, just finding the people that they're following now. And then also, in terms of how to continue that growth, we have SHEEN Media Group. SHEEN Media Group is our parent company. So everything that you see, and this is our most recent copy. This is Taya Cooper. She's on this cover. But everything that you see is created by SHEEN Media Group. So we create podcasts, movies, videos, whatever it may be. And we also have an app. So
Okay.
in terms of trying to keep up with the younger generation, okay, you don't want to read a physical copy. You don't want to go pick it up off stands. Well, log onto your phone, and here's everything you can read in your palm. So we're always trying to make sure we're staying on top of that. And the app is still fairly new, but it does have all
Okay.
these elements that you can capture, from the magazine to blogs, and we're creating television shows there as well.
That's good. Like being creative, man, even with me just podcasting, you gotta do a lot. And
Yeah.
it could be so draining sometimes and overwhelming, because you see a transition of how people present their content, all the creativity and different graphics. They're upgrading graphics constantly.
Mhm.
And you gotta think of like more futuristic more than anything. Have you guys thought about even utilizing certain things when it comes to AI with Sheen Magazine?
Not really. I mean, certain times maybe on like Photoshop, if there's something maybe small, but in terms of using AI as a source, it's not really something that we look to do often,
That's
just
good.
because, just to kind of keep the authenticity. Now, I won't lie, if
Yeah.
there's a caption that maybe we just want somebody to read through one time, maybe.
Yeah.
But nothing that's like gonna be a big noticeable change, because we like to keep the heartbeat. We do have, journalists who still write every article in the magazine. So we try to keep it authentic. But like I said, a sprinkle here and there.
Yes, and you
Yeah.
guys are really authentic. I've been following you guys for some years now, and it's very comforting. They kind of remind me of like back in the day of Jet Magazine, because you guys have so much to offer when it comes to it, and it's like sometimes the unexpected comes and you just be like, wow, this is amazing. So you guys are really amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
the Sheen Awards have became like something of part of the brand. Can you
Yes.
tell us about the origins of Sheen Magazine and what we can expect this year?
For the award show itself.
Yes.
Okay, so the actual award show, the SHEEN Magazine Awards, started way back when. It was actually called the Legendary Awards, and it was to honor the magazine, but also to honor our founder, Miss Chapman. It is a night of beauty, fashion, hair, entertainment, and just celebrating Black excellence. So this year is the year of the writer. So with that being said, we want to kind of honor the people who are behind, all of these creative things, whether that means you've written a song or a book, or, been a script writer. That is our goal this year in order to create. We'll be at the Buckhead Theater. That is on September the 25th, which is a Thursday. We like to do Thursdays because, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and the night before, we'll be doing our kickoff party. So, but yeah, just a night of fun. And one really cool element I would say to the SHEEN Awards is the performers that we get. I mean, it's not always like the new hot people, but it's people who bring nostalgia. So one of my favorite SHEEN Awards, we had Leia. She's an R&B artist, but we also had Young LA, OJ the Juice Man, and Young Dro. So it was like, for me, I'm a millennial, so I'm like, this is the time that I remember some stuff about that era, and I remember when I was listening to the songs. And Roscoe Dash, I forgot to mention him, but so it's just a really cool night, and it's just a night for everybody to kind of come home. That's what we always refer to it as, a homecoming. Everybody that is involved in SHEEN, whether we do a million things together or one thing together, we always try to make sure they feel like family, which, with that being said, family has all the things, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So yeah.
Yes, you ain't lying about that.
Mhm.
So how do you select trendsetters and newsmakers to be featured in SHEEN Magazine, and what qualities do you look for in individuals to highlight in like both the magazine and the awards?
Ooh, I like that question. It really depends because our team, everybody sees people differently. So
Okay.
it kind of just depends on what we bring to the table. We have creative conversations about everything we do. We do try to like select our covers a little bit earlier, but I mean, if there's a project happening and we align with that person, that makes sense to us. For instance, our January, February cover, that was Drika Gates. At the
Yeah.
time, she was doing her wellness brand. She was bringing it out and kind of just really showing the world what it was about. Well, in January, what is everybody doing? Hit the gym.
Yeah.
Time for new year, new me. So it just made sense. But honestly, I always say, because this is what I was taught from our former editor in chief and from our founder, everybody has a celebrity, or excuse me, everybody has a story, and everybody's a celebrity in their own right.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on how the story is pitched and how it goes, because there's several different things. Sometimes that means your story just happens to be an advertorial because it also presents brands or things like that. Or maybe that also means that for the pop out season issue, which is coming in November, December, you're about to pop out with something new. So you need to be featured. So it really, it sways. But in terms of the award show, we more so select people who bring that feel of, again, like not always nostalgic, but just
Yeah.
people who bring a feel of like, now it's time for you to get your flowers. It's not always the people you expect
Yeah.
to, be awarded.
That's good. Just giving people different opportunities. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned a desire to inspire and international change through media. What impact do you hope to leave through the work that you've done at SHEEN Magazine, both industry and for the readers?
Ooh, wow. I just honestly hope that the impact that I was able to give was that regardless of what you've been through, who you are, you can do it. I mean, ultimately, I told you how I got here, but what I didn't say is, once upon a time I was in tutoring. Once upon a time, my parents were like, is she gonna pass? So there were moments where I had to go through a journey of my own to get here. And so even sometimes when I'm just like, when I do have those imposter syndrome moments, I remember like, look who you get to work with. You know what I mean? Everybody's story is so different, but I will say my team alone, all the teams that I've worked with, the impact that we've given is the fact that you can do it, and the fact that it's not always about what schooling you've had or whatever it may be. Sometimes it's literally just about putting your best foot forward and making sure it stays forward. And even if it's not, again, you figure out a way to readdress it. But the impact that I hope to give is just helping others and just making sure that they know that it's okay. Like, obviously, it's life. But at the end of this, I just want somebody to feel like Kristyn helped me because of SHEEN or through SHEEN.
That is beautiful, Kristyn. It just shows like how passionate you are in what you do. And like it's very rare. Like you're a rare woman. and it's amazing that you are the chosen one for this because you're amazing. Honestly, you are.
Thank you. Oh, you make me cry. Thank you.
You're welcome. So speaking of you being amazing and you just showing so much leadership, what advice do you give to young women, especially those that are interested in media, fashion, beauty, to just who would inspire in a similar career path?
Figure out who you are. For a long time there, I was like, what is my what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? And the whole time it was like there, but I almost had like a fear of figuring out my whole self to make it happen, if that makes sense.
It
I
makes
think
a lot of sense.
yeah, I felt like I was like running away from myself in a weird way, but like I think the biggest piece is that, like, if you don't have yourself aligned in whatever order it is, whatever other people think, you're never going to be able to stick to what you want to do. And that's the biggest part, because once you know who you are, if you get a no, if a door closes, if things happen, then you'll still be able to bounce back and continue because you cared enough, because you cared about yourself enough to make that happen for yourself.
That is good because it sounds like you chose faith over fear.
You know, I did. It's funny that you say that. My family is my nuclear family that I grew up in is all corporate America. So me being the creative one, it's still great, but it's definitely different. And especially, being that person that's like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And but yeah, faith definitely has been the keystone. And I would say even now, not to get too into that, but that's something that I've had to kind of come back to, because I think that in rediscovering myself, because they say that when you have a baby, you're like reborn. I definitely feel that way. My body is like, okay, reset. But with that, I think I've renewed my faith in different areas and my faith in just myself.
So on a personal level, as far as you having a baby, how have you been taking care of yourself and having a baby, dealing with postpartum and actually, continuing to stay motivated and moving forward with your career in such a high demand of the position that you're in?
Ooh, I love this topic. This is probably my favorite topic. But honestly, having him, his name is Jackson, having him made me realize I had to take care of myself. Because a lot of the days, I always tell people now, I feel like I was just living unconsciously before I had a baby. I feel like I was just like, whatever, like floating through life. But now I have a morning routine. I know we have to be out of the door by this time. Then, speaking of postpartum, realizing what my body is doing now. This week I was kind of like, I don't want to use the word moody, but I was going through some moods and I was like, what's wrong? Hey, it's only been like 10 months. So, it's still regulating itself.
Yeah.
But I will say with work, it has definitely been just doing it, even when it kind of felt like, maybe I need to like calm down. I was like, no, like I need to do it, because if I don't do it and I feel like I lose myself in the sauce, I'm never going to want to come back to it. So that meant some of the work things I'm calling because I want to know, I want to be included. Don't just, isolate me. And they didn't. They still called me just as much as they usually do. My team did. So I think that helped a lot. Just having people make you still feel normal. They didn't make me feel like, oh, Kristyn's a mom now. She can't that was never the case.
Well, that's good that you recognize that, because sometimes that could be a difficult part,
Yeah.
not recognizing it, and something could easily just sneak up on you, and you'd be like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Hold up, this ain't right. I don't know what it is." But the fact that you knew, I'm proud of you to even just know that so that you can, touch bases and get back to you and get the moving. And I'm glad that you still moving forward because, some people have it worse than others.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that is such an interesting conversation that we will continue to have
Yeah.
because to me, I think women can have it all. You can have whatever it is that you want, even if you do happen to produce a child. You just got to figure out how you're going to navigate it. And I've been watching, I'm heavy into TikTok. So I've been watching a lot of people talk about, well, one lady in specifically has been mentioning, even if you don't have a village, sometimes you just have to make one in terms of like finding different resources to get what you need so you can get back to yourself. And I think that was, is really interesting to hear because, everybody's harping on this village, but nobody's telling you what to do if you don't have one. So I love that she mentioned that.
That is good. So
Mhm.
so tell me, who or what inspires you most in both your personal life and career, and how did they influence you to lead you into SHEEN Magazine?
Always, always, always my queen, my mom. My mom, I'm such a mama's girl. So just a little bit of like personal. I was adopted, and I was adopted when I was about a year old. But my parents never made me feel any different than the person that belonged to them. But watching my mom grow up, she, like I said, she was in corporate America. She was one of few women, let alone Black women, to do what she was doing.
Mhm.
And she still maintained and made sure that we were loved and made sure that she advanced. And even watching her after my brother and I moved on to graduating and going to college, she moved to India by herself after, everything, and still continued her career and still traveled the world and still did all the things. I think that sometimes I still try, I don't try anymore, but before I was like, I'm trying to be like mom, but obviously I'm different. But she is always going to be my inspiration because just watching somebody every day and even just having a glimpse of it right now, watching somebody every single day with my dad still be the powerful woman that she is and learning how to be, this professional. Whether or
Mhm.
not I followed all of the steps that she had, I definitely watched. So I don't take everything, but I know what parts to take, and she's so phenomenal. So it's
Aw.
always going to be mom, professionally and personally, because she knew what she wanted and she went and got it. And even personally, when she was going through, you didn't know it. And I mean, for a long time, I also tried to be like that because I remember her telling me, Kristen, I'm a professional. You don't necessarily always have time to cry. And I was like, okay, not gonna
Mhm.
cry. Not gonna, cried every day, but that part didn't stick, but the rest did. So yeah, always mom because she's just everything.
Aw. Well, hey, mom. That is amazing. So what does success mean to you personally, and is it different from how you define success for SHEEN Magazine?
Hmm. Success. What does it mean to me personally? I think that now that I'm a little bit older, success just means being happy in what you do and being able to to sustain in what you do.
Mhm.
So that is something that I have been just trying to keep in mind. Like, okay, you can have all these goals, but are you happy? And do they make
Mhm.
sense? Um, but the goals for Sheen are to continue to be this movement, whether or not, we're captivating. I know we're captivating somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just continue to spread the word and continue to find different ways to connect with people, because we talk about this all the time. Sometimes it's not that mega influencer who's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be somebody like me who just knows somebody else who knows somebody else. And that's the key to it all. You know, finding out that success really isn't always about, you know, the biggest in the room. Sometimes it's that other person in the room who's going to help you because they have an audience that's loyal.
That is so true. You speaking gospel, girl. That is so true. So outside of your professional work, what are some of the things that you're passionate about that your audience might not know, but do you have any hobbies or interests that'll help you stay grounded?
Oh, wow. So I would say fashion. I could say shopping, but I don't think that really covers it. So definitely fashion. I love to put together an outfit, whether it be for me or for somebody else. That's not
Mhm.
anything that I typically like do if for other people, but I always like, if I'm stressed or whatever, I'm like, at least I can look okay in this outfit. So let me find it.
Okay.
That's definitely something. And then it's not really hadn't come into fruition yet, but it's in my brain that one day I'm going to learn how to dance, because my husband always tells me I'm on the rhythm, which is fine. Okay. It's fine. But I would say that. And then I do like to do like my own like daily vlogs. I never post them, but
Um,
just the idea of like doing it is like, yeah, that's it. But yeah, fashion, and then just spending time with, you know, the people that I love, and that includes my team, because we don't just go to work and go home. Like, we all have personal connections with each other too.
that is dope. That is dope. I like that. So, if you could sit down with someone for coffee or any other woman, past or present, who would it be and why?
Ooh, anybody. Okay, let's see. Let's see. It might be cliche, but I'm gonna say Beyonce.
Okay.
I do not ever declare that I'm part of the Beehive, because I'm not. Um,
Okay.
I do love her, but I'm not a part of the Beehive. But with that, I think I would choose her because there's a certain way that she has her career set. Even when there's a rumor or whatever going on about it, she doesn't address it, and she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And you know that what she's going through is secure because of the people that are around her. Also, just like how she set it up. I'm a Virgo, so I kind of already feel like we're soul sisters because she's a Virgo too. But just like her whole business model, and learning more about that. We did honor her dad a few years ago for the SHEEN Awards. So it was really cool, you know, kind of correlating with that a little bit. But I think just knowing the person who is the also quote unquote machine of it all, and just
Mhm.
figuring out how she handles it, because she's still this mega star. She's a mom, she's a wife, but she worked her tail off.
Yeah.
And she's just now starting to show us glimpses of her life. So I just would love to know, like, I know you're only sharing with us what you want to share, but tell me what else you would tell somebody if they have the opportunity.
That is super dope. So, what are your plans for Sheen for the next 5 years?
Ooh, 5-year plan.
Yes.
Well, so we're already in the stages of it. We just, like I said, the app came out. It came out last year, but we're
Okay.
really honing in on it right now. So producing those shows, we do have one show out right now. It's called The Great Match. We have another one coming out called It Girls. So those are some of our productions that we have going on, but continuing not just to produce extra seasons of those, but to do films and to do podcasts and to do everything and become that hub that people can come create at. Speaking of creating, we will be opening our Brainstorm Studios, which is actually located here on our campus it's in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. So that's our next great venture. This is a place where you can literally, I'm actually in it right now, but you can record a record, you can film a podcast, there's a green screen, you can do a photo shoot on the backdrops that we have. So also that, and then with the magazine, it might sound simple, but to continue to print, because our founders are heavy on continuing the print, because there are a limited amount of Black publications still out there. And the importance of people being able to see that magazine and pick it up and to realize like this was created by somebody that looks like me. So really just keeping that churning out. And then, I would love to see, and we've been talking about it, we just got to bring it to fruition, a beauty expo and more fashion shows. They used to do a ton of fashion shows, but I would love to see a beauty expo of some sort where you can come and everybody can just be together, but figure out different elements of beauty. Because I feel like every single time we interview somebody else about a beauty tip or trick, you find out something different. So those are some of the plans that I have in my brain.
That is amazing. So what are 2 things that you would like to see change within the media industry, especially from African American?
Oh, well, number one, the gatekeeping of certain people. I think that the importance is, yes, everybody makes it to a certain place, but that does not mean they can't tell their story to everyone. You know what I mean? I feel like as platforms are evolving, or as people are coming, people are more so just gravitating towards the certain places. And I just kind of feel like there's a space for everybody's story to be told in every platform. I know that there's been times where there have been different encounters where, they've done X amount of Black platforms and that's kind of it. And you're like, that's great, but and thank you for doing that. But what else? It's not necessarily about, for us, it's not about like the numbers, because our covers have all kinds of people on them, whether or not, none of that matters. So I think, and vice versa, it would be great to see that happen on the other side of things too, not just, certain platforms. That's one. And then number 2 would probably be more togetherness. Not just because I don't really think it's an African American thing. I think it's just a people thing. But more togetherness when it comes to these, storytellings and things like that. I think it'd be cool if, people from different places could come together and figure out how to make things work, because that's the way you're going to change the compass of it all. And especially given whatever political landscape we're in, not just speaking of this current one, you need positive news and positive energy to go out there. So, like it's great that we know about, all of the things that are happening, but what about the positive parts of it? If we all came together and figured it out, probably make it a lot easier. So those are 2 things that I'd love to see.
And I love them both. I love them both. So what is some positive, encouraging words that you could leave here today for the audience?
Well, I think these are words for me too. But everything's going to be okay. And I know that's a lot easier said than done. I know that for me, there are times that I just lay in the bed and all I can think about is the thing that I think that I messed up. But you look back, and me and my team, we talk every Monday, and I just said this in the meeting that we had, and I was like, yo, I know y'all seen the post, but there's a post that says, Oprah got fired when she was blah, 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 and she's still Oprah, like, like everything is gonna be okay. And it's okay to want better and to do better, but at the end of it all, stress can and will kill you if you let it.
You bet
So
mine.
yeah. So I'm like, everything, that's probably my biggest thing. I know it's kind of simple, but everything's gonna be okay, and just keep pushing and get some people around you that, I don't want to say that because I think that's a bad word. But get some people around you that give a care, Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I
if they
know what you mean.
yeah, because if they don't care about you and you don't care about yourself, that's an even worse equation. So
Yeah.
get some people that care. And I mean, I feel like I'm going on a tangent, but I just want to say that for me personally,
I already know.
like I literally had to be like, I have good people. I need to ask for help. Not
Oh,
just
girl, you cussing at me.
look, me too. It's crazy because I be having these epiphanies like every other day. Like, you don't need
Uh-huh.
to ask. But we've had some incidences just like in life and here that would have been so much better if I just would have asked somebody. So now I ask for everything. Hey, help me write this caption, help me do this, help me. Because half of the time everybody wants to ask, but nobody asks. Because you
Yeah.
think you have to be freaking superhuman. And it's like, okay, well, you being superhuman, killing yourself, and that person actually wants you to help or
Yeah.
wants to be able to help you.
That's
So
true.
I think that's really it. And then, I mean, if I have given 5 things, but then
You giving great things.
I'm like, and then, but also just to like protect yourself, and your energy. Because
Yeah.
I know for me, and I know I like joked about it earlier, but crashing out is a real thing. And I think that
Yes.
a lot of the times, because of how passionate you can be about something, it gives crash out energy. And I just feel like a lot of times you look back and you're like, man, why did I do that? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't mean to do it. I didn't even mean to. I didn't know I was doing it, but I did it, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah.
And that even comes with having an accountability friend and people in your life telling me like, look, you tripping. You need to
Exactly.
readjust and get yourself together. Somebody that can be like really honest and transparent with you
Exactly.
without you
Yeah.
feeling some kind of way. Like,
Mhm.
look, we gotta do this. Get up.
Yeah. Get up and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yes. No, this, oh my God, that's so real. And it's so real in all cases. Like, even with you, I know you're working with a team and you got to make sure that you don't crash out about whatever happens over here, but at least you have them to keep you grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel
But
like a lot.
believe it or not, girl, I ain't got no team like that.
Really?
I just make it look good.
You do, because I'm like, they just got other things. No, you make
Yes.
it look amazing. Okay.
Yes, I do not. I got my little cousin, Katasha, who you was talking to.
Okay. Okay.
She's in Arizona doing
Uh-huh.
all of that for me. And
Yes.
then this, like one of my best friends, he helping me. So
Yes.
that's my team.
But kudos to you because you
Yes,
know how to make that work. You know how
girl,
to make all
been
that
doing
work.
it. I do my
And
postings, my graphics, like some of my editings, everything. I do it
um,
all.
well, even more kudos because I looked at your page and I was like, okay, she splices them like this, but I just knew that was the whole production team. Okay, now.
That's
Well,
all me.
I love to see it. And kudos to those people who are a part of it too, because
Yes.
especially like you saying, these are like people who are close to you. Sometimes when you
Mhm.
get people that close to you, they'd be like, nah, I can't help. So, you know, it's great.
No, it's about the part that you was saying, like, just really protecting yourself.
Yeah.
So I like to protect my peace and I love being around people with good energy and everything because I'm like one band, one sound. Like my energy level is always like this. So
Mhm.
I'm like real chill, lay back. And if somebody is just being hectic, the child, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't.
Real see, and that's the thing. It seems like I'm always like this, but it can get real hyper or real like boom, 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 depending on
Already
what's
know.
going on. Yeah.
But you human though. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You human.
Mhm.
You an editor-chief. That's a lot already with all the people you got to keep in track of. Let alone you're a mom, you're a wife.
Mhm.
That's a job too. So that's a lot. And for you to even just show up, girl, you better give yourself some credit. You doing it.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. But no, yeah, you're right. It is, and just I feel like given life now with everybody and what
That's
we're
good.
going through in the world, just not even again, not even I'm not even talking about politics. I'm just talking about like the climate changes and the prices of things,
Yes.
just showing up to attempt to make a day work at this point, kudos to everybody who's out there even trying to do something and still being passionate about
Yes.
what they're doing. Because I know, you like
Amen.
I'm talking about some Jesus coming back. Well, okay, I love him, but I need some time. So
Yeah,
like
I'm like, hold up, Jesus.
I
Wait a
love
minute.
you, but like can you wait? Yeah. Yeah. No.
You're not lying. We on the same boat, girl. That is amazing. Well, can you let people know how to reach you as far as even if they want to become writers or a part of the Sheen team? And also how can they follow them and also just keep track of everything that you have going on?
Alrighty, so I'll start with the company and I'll end with myself. So for SHEEN Magazine, you can head to sheenmagazine.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at SHEEN Magazine. On Facebook, we are at the SHEEN Magazine. And then on Twitter, we're at SHEEN Magazine. You can also download the app by heading to the App Store or the Google Play Store. And if you're interested in buying Taya Cooper, she's on stands right now at Walmart, Walgreens, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and of course on the SHEEN Magazine app. So all information that you would need to kind of follow up and be a part, you can DM us. We do have people actually reading the DMs. They do respond. And if they don't, just ping them again. They'll respond. Um, Also, we have info at SHEEN Magazine where you can send things over. But I mean, me personally, I have people send things and, DM as well. My Instagram is Kristyn Harris, and that is spelled Kristyn. And on Facebook, I'm Kristyn Harris as well.
Okay, Kristyn, girl, thank you.
Thank you. You were so awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in to Life Her Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and also follow us on all major platforms audio. Thank you.